So when I was starting my company, I started the company because at the back of my mind I was thinking I can do so much more with my life than sitting in an office and doing the routine. Like, I can make my own money. Well, in my head I wanted to be a boss lady. I loved the sound of being a boss lady, but I didn't know anything about it. So there was this training called Peace Through Business Rwanda. It's a training that empowers women entrepreneurs, giving them business knowledge and giving them connections to our sister organization in the US. So we go through this training, and the woman who was training us, she's called Chantal Monanaide, and she trained us for 3 months. Every 3 months, 3 months in a year, basically, January to March. I remember sitting in that room, and it's strictly for women, girls and women who have businesses, startups, any business, you name it. So it was my first time being in a room with other women entrepreneurs, some older than I was, others younger, and I didn't know anything about doing business. But all I knew was I needed to grow my business. I wasn't going to quit. I had just started my communications business, and what I did was literally get all my skills and turn them into services provided by my company. But I didn't know anything about bookkeeping. I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about running a business. So we do this training for 3 months, and it was so empowering to see another woman look at our class, other women, and tell us, look, you can make it. It's one thing to have a dream. It's another thing to go for it, but actually you can build your businesses. Your businesses can grow, and I'm here to give you the knowledge that you need to ensure that you make it. It was the first time I was meeting a woman who was willing to do a journey with me until I made it. Well, I haven't made it, but today, I remember one distinct thing she kept telling me. She used to tell me, every woman, I don't know where she got that, but she likes to say it. She used to tell me, every woman, whatever story she has, whatever passion, whatever dream she has a guiding star. And if you can find your guiding star, you will reach where you're meant to reach. Don't lose sight of your guiding star. That was before COVID. So we do the 3 months, we graduate, and she keeps telling me, you have a guiding star. You're starting a small business, but it will grow. Don't give up. Just keep following your star. Where is it leading you? Who are you going to connect on the journey? So when I think of what I do today as a woman entrepreneur, I cannot deny the fact that there is something powerful about women-to-women empowerment. When we come together in such a setting, or even in other settings, and we hold each other's hands and tell each other, look, I've been there, I've done that, I've survived that, I made it, I can tell you that you can make it. And this woman, she had been through different businesses, some shut, some kept open, but she had been through so much. But she would always tell us, you have a guiding star, you will make it. So to cut the long story short, I start my business, but it was hard because it was in the conference space. We do conference communication amongst other services, moderation of events, interpretation. That's what I do. That's what I've done for like the last 15, 20 years. I'm a conference interpreter, and I also moderate events. So she used to tell me, we don't have many women faces doing that. We don't have many women doing that. We don't have many girls doing that. Stay at it. But she was telling this to me before COVID, because COVID happened and no conferences, nothing was happening. So I've taken you through that journey to share with you what it means when we as women, as girls, go back and empower our sisters. Go back and tell our sisters, whatever your story is, whatever you've chosen to pursue, you can make it. You have the power and capacity to reach there. So fast forward, COVID hits, conferences shut down. I'm not interpreting anywhere. I'm not moderating anywhere. And I'm thinking, do I give up? Do I apply for a job? But companies are firing even the people who've been working for them for a number of years. So we are in the lockdown. Then I start writing my book. When I started writing the book, it was literally journaling, really. It wasn't meant to become a book. I wasn't meant to be an author. I wasn't even meant to sell books. But I wrote nonetheless, and it helped me survive the COVID loneliness and the lockdown and all those things. So I take time, I reflect on my story, on my past, on everything. You'll find it in the book. And I write, and then I'm like, okay, now what? It's in the first lockdown. At the end of the first lockdown, I am at 90 pages. My academic background is in media and communications. I love writing. I'm a public speaker. I've done a lot of communications work prior to this. So we come from the COVID lockdown. I have 90 pages. Remember, I had opened a company, but then COVID hit and no one knew what was going to happen next. And now I'm thinking, okay, let me just write, and then let me just write becomes a book. See? I share my book with a few friends, but the friends I shared, two of them men, one of them tells me, we have to make this a book. We are making you into an author. I'm like, no. The imposter syndrome. I'm like, I am comfortable interpreting because I've done it for long. I can't write. And he's like, what do you mean? You've written 90 pages. What do you mean? I'm like, no, I don't think, it's not meant for me. Like, he's like, are you crazy? You have 90 pages. We're making it into a book. So he puts pressure on me. And I'm thinking, okay, people know me as confident, as outspoken, as all. But I'm like, no, we don't have. It's not even a genocide story, because most stories told in Rwanda, most books written in Rwanda are genocide-related stories. And I'm like, the audacity to write something not genocide-related, how dare you? But this friend here is telling me, you're putting a story out. Good enough, he's a genocide survivor. He's like, who told you we only have genocide stories? We have other stories. You can write your story. I'm like, let someone else first tell their story, then I'll come after. So I have him, and if you follow what I'm trying to say, I have a woman at the background telling me, follow your star. And I have a man who is telling me, we are going to write a book. Then I have another friend, a man. He tells me, this is a book, we need to advertise your book. I'm like, how are we advertising something that hasn't been edited? It hasn't been, there is no book cover, there is nothing. He's like, no, let's go for a photo shoot. Then we start advertising on social media. You will really see it come to pass. And I'm thinking, are you trapping me? I feel like you're going to trap me. He's like, no, we're not going to trap you. A book is coming out. Let's start promotion. Let's start advertising. I'm like, okay, I should jump. Maybe if I jump, I'm going to believe that I can write. Mind you, I have 90, 100 pages because each day I'm adding something. So we do a photo shoot. I'm thinking, okay, let's dance around this. After the photo shoot, we start advertising a book. We advertised my book in 2020. It came out in 2022. And the logic was, this is what he tells me. His name is Sean. He told me, I had to squeeze you out of your comfort zone, out of your imposter syndrome, out of your fears. I had to shake you because I knew you could make it. So when I think of my journey, I think of these three friends. I think of the woman who told me to follow my star, who till today still tells me one book is not enough.
Catch your breath.
I'm like, no, do you know what it has taken me to go through this? No. But this woman always tells me, do you think that star ended there? Like it stopped there? Is it like the star that went and showed where Jesus was born and that was it? The star keeps moving and it keeps shining. And do not dim the shine just because you've done this. So it's so inspiring when there is another woman pushing you, another woman telling you. And I have many stories of women who have told me you can do it. And then I do it and they're like, you see, I told you can do it. Then they say, okay, let's do that as well. I'm like, no. But it's so empowering when another woman, another sister holds your hand and tells you, you can do it. So my journey has been built on women empowerment by my fellow sister, but also by other gentlemen who have pushed me out of my comfort zone, who have told me, look, we're advertising the book. And then after advertising the book, that was in 2020, we hadn't even finished editing it. And people start writing to me on Twitter, on Instagram, saying, so when is the book coming out? I'm like, why did I even advertise? And I go back to Sean and I'm like, why did we advertise? He said, because there is a book coming out. People do promotion before a book comes out. And the book came out last year, and I have never felt what I felt when that came out. I was like, okay, so I can actually make it happen. Not that I didn't think I could make it happen, but I was like, some people are supposed to make it happen. Me, I'm supposed to, take my time. And it's okay taking time, by the way. There are people who take time. I have no problem with people taking time. But for me, I realized that it was around fear. Fear to fail. Being a perfectionist. Fear of not pulling it off perfectly. And this journey told me that everything doesn't have to be perfect. We have taken the first step. Let's go with it. Let's grow. So my journey has been built around women empowerment and men who come on our journey and tell us, you can make it. Where can I knock doors for you? How can I get you sponsorship? How can I advise you? So I see we have a few gentlemen in the room. It's so empowering when a gentleman will call out your name, tell you, listen, I've been here before, I can advise you on how to get this sponsorship. I can show you who to talk to. I can teach you this. So my friend Sean, who taught me, who led me to advertise this book 2 years before it came out, he's like, I need to teach you pitching. I was like, pitching? What do you mean pitching? He's like, you need to learn how to sell yourself. You're so random. He is random himself. But he's like, you're so random. Do you see how Kenyan women are, Nigerian women? Go watch Nigerian movies and see how Nigerian women act. You need to come out of your random shell. I'm like, no, we don't do that in Rwanda. He's like, you need to pitch. How are we going to get sponsorship to print your book, to publish? How are we going to launch your book if you don't have money? And I was like, you're going to do that for me? He's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to teach you how to pitch. I'm going to teach you how to introduce yourself in a few minutes, 3 minutes maximum, 1 minute, how to sell an idea in 1 minute. And I'm going to teach you how to make money, how to really convince someone, and by the time you part ways, they have signed a check. So when he told that to me, I was like, can we find someone to do it for us? I don't see myself walking into someone's office and telling them I'm here for money. They'll think it's not appropriate, And I don't know, we have different nationalities here, but Rwandan women really understand what I'm talking about. We don't ask openly for what we want. It's like there is a shame associated with making your demands known. It's too forward. So I think some of you have already noticed how Rwandans are so soft-spoken, how we are not direct, and how we find our ways to communicate. So imagine being a woman and you're having to ask for money. So to think that I was going to have to ask for money, I mean, I was scared. So I remember walking into Bank of Kigali because they sponsored the book. But going there and you see, the CEO of Bank of Kigali is a woman herself, and she believes strongly in empowering women, in encouraging young women. So when I met her, the issue wasn't me meeting a woman. The issue was me meeting a CEO and going to ask for money. Do we really have to? I remember telling Sean, do we really have to? Can't we find ways? He was like, are you going to rob a bank? No. So you go and ask for money from the bank. Can we get a loan? He's like, no, we are not getting a loan. Banks have CSRs. They have funds. Dare to knock and say, I'm here for money and the budget is this. How do I get it? What do I need to do? You should have seen me. That was the first time I was going to pitch and ask for money. So I had the pitch written. He had told me this is how you introduce your idea, this is how you introduce what you want to say, and this is how you go for it. So I remember walking in Dr. Diane's office and introducing myself, and at the back of my mind I'm saying, Barbara, are you really asking for money? Are you really asking for money? Is Bank of Kigali really going to sponsor you? And I'm talking to a fellow woman. So sometimes we are the ones who self-sabotage. It's not like people have refused you what you're asking for, but that voice telling you, don't. If you really listen to it, you lose out so much. But I remember telling her, we are launching this book, we are launching our Stories Matter initiative because we want Rwandans and Africans to tell their stories, and I've come to ask for the sponsorship, this is the amount of money I need. She's like, yeah, sure, no problem. I remember looking at her and I'm like, did she really get what I was asking for? I was asking for this amount of money. I'm like, so Dr. Diane, so are we getting sponsorship? She's like, yes, Barbara, I have signed on it. Do you have a bank account in Bank of Kigali? I'm like, no, because I wasn't even sure they were going to give me the money. But she's like, open your bank account as soon as you can. We'll give you the money, we'll come to your event, tell us what you want us to do. So, we all have a star that is shining ahead of us. Whatever choices you make, if you want to choose to be a stay-at-home mother, if you want to pursue business, if you want to pursue a professional career, whatever you choose, there is a star ahead of you. But be alert to know and recognize who has been sent on your way to guide you to your blessing. So for me, it's been that.
Thank you for this.
Thank you.